Okay, guys, it's 6 o'clock according to my phone here. I'm going to call this meeting of the City Council order for August 26th. Roll call.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hay.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes,
Weber.
Yes.
and I need approval for the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of August 12th.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hay.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Okay, first item on the agenda is a public hearing, and it's to hear two things, and I need a motion to
Make a motion
open
to,
them.
I make a motion to open the public hearings.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hay.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
All right, under public hearings, we have two items, and one for the property tax rates and the other for floodplain management code. Mr. Schlegel.
Yes, Your Honor. The first public hearing this evening is required by law that the City Council conduct a public hearing to establish the property tax rates for the current year. As council's also aware that the state auditor calculates the allowable property tax rates based on keeping revenue neutral, exclusive of new construction. To cover the comparisons of the rates, I will turn to Roger Haynes to give you the report.
Good evening, Council. As Bruce noted, this public hearing will provide information on this year's assessed value and rates and also make some comparisons to last year. Based on the 2024 assessed value of $173,554,893 as determined by the Audrain County Assessor, and the State Auditor's Office allowable total tax rate calculation of 75.91 cents per $100 assessed valuation, revenues for the city based on 100% collection would be $1,317,455. Based on the 2024 assessed value, levy revenue for the City of Mexico would be allocated as follows for budget year 24-25. For the general fund, revenue would be $796,790. For the Parks and Recreation Fund, $173,555. And for the Public Health Fund, $347,110. For a total of $1,317,455. That compared to last year's revenue estimate based on the prior year's levy is about $27,141 more in generated revenue, or approximately 2.10%. From that point, we'll just go ahead and turn to the PowerPoint where we can see the changes in assessed value from the 23 tax year to the 24 tax year. As you can see, property assessed value for the 24 tax year is approximately $1,006,785 more than the prior year. As far as the levy amounts, the levy values, the Parks and Recreation and Public Health funds remain the same as far as levy rate compared to 23 to 24. The general fund rate will go up a little over a penny, going from 44.78 cents per $100 assessed value to 45.91 cents for every $100 assessed value. As Bruce mentioned, the State Auditor's Office basically provides us, the city, a pro forma to show what is an allowable tax for each of those three funds. And just to go over kind of some of the bullet points on that, by state statute, a governmental entity shall adjust its levy rate to stabilize revenue neutral, so services provided by that entity can be maintained. The State Auditor's Office provided the City of Mexico pro forma calculation data depicting what levy rates are allowed in the 2024 tax year based on several factors, including prior year assessment, prior year valuation assessment adjustments, current year assessment, value of assessment growth through new construction and reassessments, consumer price index adjustments, value lost through asset aging or reclassification, and limits set through voter approval by tax rate caps. To give us some, how that formula works for the general fund, We're going to take the current year assessed value of $173,554,893, less assessed value of new construction and improvements for the year, which was valued at $5,265,462, to come up with an adjusted current assessed valuation on previously existing property. And that amount comes to $168,289,431. Bullet point 3, we can just skip over that because it did not come into play this year. Bullet point 4, for the general fund, the prior year's adjusted assessed value multiplied by the 23's permitted general fund levy rate of $172,548,108 times last year general fund levy of 44.78 cents per 100 assessed value equals a maximum prior year adjusted revenue of $772,670. Again, that is for the general fund. For the general fund, the maximum prior year adjusted revenue, that same amount, plus permitted reassessment growth, which for this year was 0, equals that same amount of $772,670, divided by the adjusted current year assessed valuation of $168,289,431, equals the allowable tax rate for 2024, which is 45.91 cents per 100 assessed valuation. Both the Parks and Public Health Funds go through that same calculation process to determine their levy rates, which staff confirms to be capped at 10 cents and 20 cents per $100 assessed valuation, respectively. Here's a breakdown of that revenue. Again, the 45.91 cents brings in revenue of $796,790 for the general fund. The 10-cent assessment per $100 assessed value brings in $173,555 for the Parks Fund. And in the Public Health Fund, at 20 cents per $100 assessed value, brings in that $347,110 for that total assessed value rate of 75.91 cents per $100 assessed value. And again, that same figure as far as revenue based on 100% collection, $1,317,455. As the last slide that we have here, of course, calling it a slide, that shows my age. 12 years worth of review here. The proposed rate for 25 at 75.91 cents. And you can see 2014 at 71.82 cents. So the rates have really adjusted in those years in the general fund for the most part. The Parks and Public Health Fund were 10 cents and 20 cents respectively or lower, and the reason none of those years did they go over that 10 cents or 20 cents is because the voter-approved rate cap was 10 cents and 20 cents respectively. The rate cap for the general fund is 50 cents. And I'd be glad to answer any questions.
So there's only been a range of about, what, 0.04 cents for that whole span of time, or less?
Yeah,
I'm just looking at your last.
Yeah,
comment there.
yeah. Now let me come back to that in the smaller version.
Some years more, some years less.
Right, right. And if you take that rate adjustment that you see from 2014 and 2025 in the general fund to reach the voter approval rate cap of 50 cents based on that scenario, it would take about 20 years.
You mentioned a couple of times based on 100% collection. What's it typically run?
There's a few factors in that. First of all, the collection cost from the county collector to do all the billing and collection runs 3 to 3.5% depending upon the type of collection that they are doing. Said and done throughout the year, we'll probably end up somewhere with about 96%, 95 or 96%, because we gained some of that back in prior years, taxes being collected and late fees.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody not understand wanting to do the whole thing over? Okay. Anybody in the
Quite
public?
enough out of him the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Anybody in the public? I don't see anybody in the public, but if anybody's here wants to speak, you need to state your name, your address, and be a member of the city or citizen of this community. And not saying that, we'll move on to the second item.
Okay. Council, the second public hearing, as you know, that the city participates in the National Flood Insurance Program, and it's to support residents that live in the designated floodplain areas. And these areas are established by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and it allows them insurance, and they do have a little over 200 structures in this particular areas. But their insurance premiums for those that live in the area are, because we participate in the program and have standards set, is lower that we do this. So, and we have to change, we have to adopt this every so often, and we're in that period. And to cover the details, Drew Wilford.
Well, good evening, council. The public notice and public hearing here comes from compliance assistant visit, they call it a CAV, from the State Emergency Management Agency, which occurred back on February 14th of this year, when we were under audit essentially for the State Emergency Management Agency. We reviewed our floodplain ordinances, and there were a few things in the ordinances that they asked us to update, so they provided us a model ordinance. We reviewed that model ordinance and compared it with our existing one. It's actually very, very similar. There are only a few minor changes that are part of that, but despite the minor changes, we still had to adopt them, or we still have to proceed to adopt them, I should say, to be part and remain part of the National Flood Insurance Program. So the key items in this really go back to just a few things. One, definitions. We're updating our definitions to be compliant with the current FEMA and SEMA definitions. There are two exceptions to that. One, we are not, how would I say that? We are not incorporating cumulative substantial damage, which would be the idea of tracking damage to a structure in a floodplain over a 10-year period. We are also not doing cumulative substantial improvement. So a structure that's in a floodplain that has been improved, if you meet a 50% threshold of that fair market value of the house, by definition of participating in this program, that improvement has to be flood-proofed. So if you're building in a floodplain and you're at that 50% threshold, think about adding on a bedroom. Could that potentially add it? Well, technically, in some model ordinances, you have to track that over a 10-year period. We're not doing that. And likewise for the damage, we are not doing that. Floodplain in our city is actually very limited. We have the town branch, and we have a few other areas that have floodplain, but we do not have nearly the amount that some of the cities near the St. Louis area would have. And that creates far less of a periodic, it's more of a periodic item that comes into play maybe once every quarter when you have someone looking at building in the floodplain. Nonetheless, we do have a number of residents and structures in the floodplain, so we do recommend proceeding with the public hearing. We have this posted. By ordinance, we must post this and allow for public comment over a 20-day period. We had it posted in the Mexico Ledger on July 24th. The other thing I'll mention that SEMA seemed to pick up on was the severability clause, which is just simply, that is found a few pages in, I apologize, in your document here, but essentially that clause reads, in any section, clause, provision, or portion of this ordinance is adjudged unconstitutional or invalid by a court of appropriate jurisdiction, the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected thereby. That was a really big item for them. They wanted to make sure that specific item was included. So we have that in there. We have the other items that are differences in our ordinance compared to the model ordinance in there, with the exceptions I noted. So we'd recommend proceeding with the public hearing and then the ordinance afterwards. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions? Thank you.
Close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion to have.
so.
You should probably make the comment about any public.
Again, okay.
There we go.
Again, I'm going to ask if there's any comment from the public. If there is, then you need to step forward to the podium, state your name and address, and you've got 3 minutes. So if there not being any, then we'll consider his motion.
Hague made motion. Williams.
Yep. Yes.
Williams. Miller.
Yes.
Hague.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to new business, we have 2 sections. We have the ordinances, which require 2 readings by title only in passage, and then we have a second session on resolutions, but under the first section, new business, we have which we have just had the hearing for, Bill number 2024-47, about the tax levy. Do I have any?
Your Honor, at this point, unless you have any questions, staff would recommend the council proceed with 2 readings by title only and pass each of the attached ordinance, and the ordinance has been posted its required length of time.
Okay.
Move for first reading number 20 of ordinance, or bill number 2024-47.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hague.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Bill number 2024-47, an ordinance levying taxes on all property for the fiscal year October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2025 for the city of Mexico, Missouri. I move for second reading of bill number 2024-47.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hague.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Bill number 2024-47, ordinance levying taxes on all property for the fiscal year October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2025 for the city of Mexico, Missouri. I move for passage of bill number 2024-47.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hague.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Okay, we go to the item B, and we just had a hearing on that. Mr. Schlegel, do you have care to add?
The same thing, Your Honor, that unless you have any questions, staff would recommend council proceed with 2 readings by title only and passage of the attached ordinance, and it has been posted its required length of time, and public notice was done.
I move for the reading of Bill 2024-48.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hague.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Bill number 2024-48, an ordinance amending Chapter 16 Environmental Article 4, Floodplain Management of the Code of the City of Mexico, Missouri. I move with the second reading of Bill number 2024-48.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hague.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Bill number 2024-48, an ordinance amending Chapter 16 Environmental Article 4 Floodplain Management of the Code of the City of Mexico, Missouri. I move for passage of Bill number 2024-48.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Yes.
Hague.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Okay, third item on our agenda, which is a rather significant one, is Bill number 2024-49, and it's an agreement between Mexico and our new company. So, Mr. Schlegel.
Your Honor, the city did issue taxable industrial revenue bonds for Soft Surroundings project on November 18 of 2016 in the principal amount of $12,500,000. This was for the purpose of constructing that facility at 5701 East Liberty to be used as a commercial warehousing and industrial development purpose. Due to the closing of Soft Surroundings, the city and East Liberty Street Owner LLC, which was the owners of the building as well, we entered into a forbearance agreement, which allowed this property to be actively marketed to a new tenant. The owners did, at that time, make a pilot payment for the calendar year of 2023 and agreed, again, if we did not have it new lease by October 1 of 2024, that they would make another pilot payment during that same period until it was rented. East Liberty Street owner has now agreed to sublease the property to Western Smokehouse Properties. The city, East Liberty Street owners, and Smokehouse Partners have also agreed to enter into an amended, restated performance agreement that would allow Smokehouse Partners to benefit from the tax abatement in the same manner the same terms and conditions of soft surroundings did in the prior agreement. This, in other words, is that we're just allowing them to finish the agreement that's already in place. Staff recommends council proceed with 2 readings by title only and passage of the attached ordinance authorizing the City of Mexico to enter into the amended restated performance agreement with East Liberty Street Owners LLC and Western Smokehouse Partners. The ordinance has been posted as required length of time.
I move for first reading of Bill 2024-49, ordinance authorizing the City of Mexico, Missouri to enter the amended and restated performance agreement with East Liberty Street Owner LLC and Western Smokehouse Partners LLC.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Kane.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes. Move for second reading, Bill 2024-49, ordinance authorizing the City of Mexico, Missouri to enter into an amended and restated performance agreement with East Liberty Street Owner LLC and Western Smokehouse Partners LLC.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Kane.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes. Move for passage of Bill number 2024-49. Let me read this again. Ordinance authorizing the City of Mexico, Missouri to enter into an amended and restated performance agreement, East Liberty Street Owner LLC and Western Smokehouse Partners LLC.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Kane.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the section 6, new business resolutions requiring reading by title only and passage. Our first bill is bill number 2024-50, and it has to do with signed documents. Mr. Schlegel.
Yes, Your Honor. As council is aware of, that the Land Clearance and Redevelopment Authority, the LCRA, met and discussed the purchase of property at 113 and 115 North Washington to establish a business incubator. The LCRA also voted to purchase the building with current funding available in their accounts. Now it is time to take a look at what we can do to prepare that building, and we were able to get a USDA grant to help us do that. And to cover the details of that grant, we will turn to Amy O'Brien, Assistant City Manager, Economic Development Director.
Thank you. We did apply for a USDA Rural Business Development Grant in the amount of $100,000 and found out that we were successful, and they are going to award it upon approval of this council. And the LCRA's $40,000 match to purchase the buildings will satisfy our requirement for that grant. So the intent is this will be a multi-year grant. The $100,000 will fund phase 1, and then we'll continue to apply and get more funds to finish out the building.
How long are you thinking the building's going to take to fix?
To do the entire plan, probably 4 years. But we will be able to start with the small business incubator with the $100,000 that we have.
How's the roof on this building?
I haven't seen it yet. Have you?
I'm just trying to figure out how far $100,000 is going to go on a roof.
Well, we also have the opportunity to, we'll be applying for CDBG grants as well that we'll be able to work in.
You're still working on the plan for that property, right? On a complete plan or final plan? You're still
Yes, we
working
have
on
to
that,
have,
right?
once we purchase the building, then we'll have engineers go in and create a plan.
Okay.
I move for the first reading of bill number 2024-50.
Thank you, Amy.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Kane.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Bill number 2024-50, resolution authorizing the city manager to sign documents pertaining to a rural business development grant offered through the USDA. I move for passage of bill number 2024-50.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Kane.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Okay, last item on this page, item B, bill number 2024-51. It's a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign a supplemental agreement. Mr. Schlegel.
Yes, Your Honor. As council is aware, the city was awarded a grant through the Missouri Department of Transportation for the replacement of Pollock Road Bridge. Under this grant, we are required to follow Army Corps of Engineers issues and state issues and guidelines. And as one of the policies that we must balance is wetland loss, so the total acreage of wetlands in the country as a whole does not decrease. So we are, by constructing this bridge, disrupting part of the wetland area. So therefore, to cover what we have to do in this agreement, Drew Williford.
As Bruce mentioned, this is a Army Corps of Engineers requirement. We are disturbing just a little over 3/10 of an acre of wetland. The Army Corps of Engineers has a process in place to handle this. There are generally two options that you can proceed with. You can either create a wetland somewhere else near you and comply fully, with their full requirements and standards for development of a wetland, or you can actually purchase mitigation credits. So the program in place right now, they have a number of agencies that they are partners with where you can purchase these credits from. The agencies have already created wetlands at some other location, doesn't have to be in our city, and so they have banked those credits. The Land Learning Foundation is the one that we were set up with. Horner and Schifrin is the engineer on this project. They are the ones that have coordinated this, and MoDOT is the entity supplying the grant, and they have asked us to simplify the process to not necessarily sign the document with Land Learning Foundation, but to sign a supplemental agreement with Horner and Schifrin so they can be the ones to purchase the wetland mitigation credits. So what you have before you is actually a resolution authorizing supplemental agreement number 2 for this project. The first supplemental agreement extended our engineering service contract and was not brought to council. There was no net cost. There was no difference in cost on it. Just extended the time frame on it. So in this one, though, there is a cost. We have a cost of $29,375 to mitigate that 3/10 of an acre of wetland. It is covered under the grant, so MoDOT will reimburse that at a roughly 12.3% local match, which is very, very good. So we are recommending to proceed with this. It is a requirement for the project to proceed itself that authorizes Horner and Schifrin to execute the documents with the Land Learning Foundation in the amount of $29,375. And we anticipate getting about a 12.3 roughly local percent. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Hopefully we don't find an endangered animal living under there.
It won't matter, apparently, we can just pay them money. I don't know. Pay somebody else.
So they're giving us money and taking away.
I move for a reading of bill number 2024-51.
Second. Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hay.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Bill number 2024-51, a resolution authorizing city manager to sign supplemental agreement number 2 with Horner Schifrin Incorporated for BRO R1191 through the Missouri Department of Transportation. I move for passage of bill number 2024-51.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hay.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
I didn't know if I should have read bro or BRO.
Should make it cool. You can make it cooler.
All right.
Kids, I mean, I think it was bro would make it cooler.
Okay, if you turn your page, we go to other business, and the first thing on other business has to do with sewer repairs, and Mr. Schlegel.
Yes, Your Honor. We have some sanitary sewer collection system repairs that we are recommending. They are some emergency repairs because of failure, and to cover the details of the different locations, Drew Williford.
Yeah, let me first add on this, it's thanks to council that we're able to proceed in finding some of these locations. If you recall, a purchase to gather a second transporter and camera was made not all that long ago. And because of having that redundancy, we've been able to proceed in getting some locations, both with I&I, but also some actual failures found. So this is somewhat of a result of that process. We maintain nearly 90 miles of sanitary sewer throughout the city, and through the process of inspection, both proactive but also some reactive, if we end up having a sewer call, we've had 3 projects that we are pursuing with Plan B development and would ask for concurrence on. A project repair at North Kentucky near the West Liberty Street intersection is where I'll start. Crews found actually a broken lateral that ended up causing a significant amount of erosion behind our main, and that led to the main collapsing at that point, or I should say a portion of it breaking at that point. Did not cause obstruction to flow, but it is going to cause significant trouble, so we authorized Plan B to proceed with an emergency repair due to the nature of it. This was under $10,000 originally, and that's why the authorization was provided. Unfortunately, they encountered some really bad soil, and they ended up having a trench collapse over there. So it's about 18 feet deep, and they did have shoring in place, so no one was hurt, but it actually bent the trench box, and they've had a real tough time trying to excavate back out after that trench collapse. It's not all that uncommon per se that you have bad soils, but it is pretty uncommon for us to have a trench collapse of that nature and to bend even the shoring itself. So that caused enough extra work that it breached that 10,000 mark. And so now we're here before you requesting concurrence for this, and I'll explain the funding here just a second. It will be taken out of the collection system repair services line item. Our second project is over off of Breckenridge and Mansfield, just west of Abbott Street. This is a project where we found a pretty odd inconsistency. We found that our sewer main went from 10-inch diameter to 8-inch and then back to 10-inch, right under where the town branch is located. So we're looking at that right now. We have asked for an emergency repair to be given to upsize that main to be 10-inch. We've actually had reports of sanitary sewer overflows in those areas. It's possible this can certainly alleviate some of those issues that are in those areas. In Plan B, we're recommending to proceed with them. We asked them about it. We asked them to get an estimate due to the nature of upsizing nearly 330 feet of pipe and going under the town branch itself in that concrete area. They provide an estimate of $30,000 to proceed with that work. Funding for that will be taken out of the capital outlay collection system improvements line item. And then our last one on the list here, and apologize for lumping several of these all together. During investigation, we found that a sewer main in the northwest area of town between Morningside and Briarwood, a specific location in the rear yard of 1414 Briarwood Place, had settled significantly. So an 8-inch main started off and actually had ovaled, and it's less than 4 inches now. And it's fascinating that it hasn't collapsed more than it already has. We've had some sewer calls out in that area, nothing substantial, but it's something that we need to address quickly. It has a time concern on it. So we were out starting to inspect all of this and gather a plan for the issue at hand, and noticed that the residents at 1414 Briarwood Place, the Ertles, had built a substantial water feature right over the main there. It's very common for the city to try to work with its residents the best it can in the rear yards specifically. This is not in the front yard in the public right-of-way, but it's actually an easement in the rear yard. And so we approached the Ertles. We first of all approached Plan B, with an estimate, and we got 2 estimates from them. The first one was for $12,000 to replace it as is, and it would involve, in essence, demolition of a substantial piece of their water feature. The second was to relocate the sewer, and that came in at $24,000. So the Ertles, we approached them about splitting the cost of that difference and agreed to a 50-50 share of that overage. So that $6,000 would be on their part. In addition, any cost to their own lateral will be part of that, though we have determined their lateral to actually go out front. So there is no cost for reconnection of their lateral. And then that other $6,000 would be on the city. So a total of $18,000 for the city, $6,000 for the Ertles to alleviate some concern there. Again, we do work with residents the very best we can in all of our projects, specifically in the backyards. It's technically their property. We do have an easement that allows us to maintain and operate there. We try to catch these things as soon as they're built. This did not require a permit, and so it did not get caught, and I'm not sure how long it's been around, to be quite honest with you.
Long
Yeah,
time.
go ahead.
Go ahead. They're across the street from me.
Oh, shit, long time, okay. Well, yeah, I gathered, I just wasn't sure on the total time there, and I didn't ask. We commonly enter into backyards, remove fencing, put back fencing at no cost to the homeowners. Similarly, if we have to cut through a person's concrete slab, whether that's for a driveway or for a rear yard, a concrete slab in the rear yard, we would repair that. So we're requesting to move forward with that premise and the cost of $24,000 for the project, with them covering $6,000 of it. So I mentioned cost before. It is important to note because we are close to the end of our fiscal year. We are going to be overdrawing the services line item for the Kentucky Street project. That's the one where we had the overage due to the trench collapse. That will be overdrawn by about $1,500. We have enough funds in the services line item through other savings to cover that. So we will not go in the red there per se. Then in the capital outlay, which will be used to cover the Morningside and the, I'll call it the Breckenridge projects, that will be overdrawn by $27,744 to the best of our knowledge. Now, we have an $80,000 project reserve still for the wastewater fund that has been untouched, and we also have some savings in our capital line items. So I don't anticipate us to get into that reserve all that much. But it's important to note, I make that clear up front, this will tap into likely a portion of our wastewater reserve. So with that, if you have any questions, I'll be very happy to.
I've got a question.
Well, let me, just a minute, let me have my question first. Okay, when you're talking about that repair on Briarwood, okay? I was curious when I read that, but you were talking about the sewer coming under there, right? That, I mean, it was going under their water thing, but that's kind of like a stream that comes down there, and that's why they had the water thing there in the first place. But the sewer was going right along underneath that? Was that the way I understood that?
That's correct. It's a
Okay.
little offset to it, but essentially correct. It would involve removal of some of their trees, a lot of their stone. Yep.
Right. Yeah, they have invested quite a bit in that project they've got there. But on the other hand, if it's collapsing to 4 inches, that's a pretty small diameter for a sewer main.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I don't think that's unusual. I don't think that's unusual also that we have considered giving some variance to people on easements. So it's a little unfortunate, but anyway, I appreciate you working with them and trying to find a solution. So, anybody else?
So where it collapsed, and then it collapsed on the, I guess, the trench, because of the bad soil. I'm sure the bad soil caused the mains to kind of fail there or to collapse as well. How will they repair that? Like, you have to dig down or replace all that soil to make sure that that doesn't happen again, or what?
They have backfilled with rock, but generally speaking, so the erosion part that caused a void behind it, I'm sure that is due to that bad soil. What was odd about this, it was perfectly dry, and it was hard ground. They had actually kind of a hard time digging there, if I understand right. But apparently, it could just slough right off the side, and when it went big enough to bend a steel trench box.
Okay, Larry, go ahead. You wanted to speak.
Yeah, I'm going to preface my comment by saying that I've known the Erdls for 60 years, both of them. They're friends, or at least they were until tonight. I have a problem if somebody was dealing with a water company or Ameren, and they built over their lines, they wouldn't care, in my opinion. They would say, too bad, you knew it was there, or you should have known it was there. Ignorance is no excuse, yada, yada, yada. I have a problem with us paying for any extra. That $12,000, I think, should be on them so they don't get their, and I've been there. I've seen the water feature, and it's really very nice, very nice. But I think that they built it over the sewer and in the easement, and again, should have known, didn't know, whatever. I just think that it's something that we shouldn't have to pay for.
Is this something?
It's your mistake, shall we call it?
Is this something we've done before where we shared the cost with the city? Some people had to share the cost with the city about things, in your memory?
We certainly have shared cost on other projects, such as sidewalks, for example, downtown sidewalks even. I'm trying to recall a project where we had a shared cost for a sewer. Not coming up with one off the top of my head. If Kinsey was here, he may very well have dealt with that before, so I apologize there. I don't disagree with the points you're making. Whenever we're looking at these projects, it's certainly within our capabilities to say, you will move that fence, you will have to be responsible for the restoration of your concrete. It was our train of thought that it's better to try to proceed in working halfway, so to speak, if you can find a way to meet halfway with the resident. That was our main train of thought with that, and that we could hopefully move forward with the project, and perhaps there are better ways to go about it, as you're saying, and I'll certainly defer to council on that.
Well, again, I'm not saying that we should destroy their, but if we have to go around it for that reason, I think that should be on them. Because if we did it the other way, they would certainly have substantial cost repairing it or replacing it. And they would probably, I don't know, but that's just my thought. And I expressed that to you and to Mr. Slagle this morning. We had a little meeting about it, and I didn't want to surprise anybody. And I wasn't trying to start a fight. Still not trying to start a fight.
Thank you, Drew. Council, this is sort of an unusual document here. You have the option to offer a motion to adopt all of this, or you have the option to, what did I write here? Or you can adopt all with an exception. So it is your pleasure, and unless you have something more to add.
It's a tough call. I was saying because I just think of sidewalks. How many sidewalks do we have? We you got to replace it. We don't care. It's your problem. It's our easement. Was the easement part of, did they know there was an easement? Like, was the easement part of their property description, like they knew it was an easement?
I haven't discussed that part with them, whether they knew there was an easement there or not.
I'm saying, usually when you buy a property, it describes the easement in the property. So it'd be interesting to know if that was actually, because I have seen cases, and especially here, especially when it comes to sewer things, where we just didn't know something was there after the fact. So that'd be interesting to me. That's what I would want to know is, was there easement or not? or was it something we found after the fact that's on us then? So,
That sewer comes from Morningside and goes down to Briarwood, services all of Briarwood.
No, that sewer would service all of Morningside, so it's going to the north and then back to the east. So that would actually service, the north side of Briarwood has its own sewer, and actually Ertle's house and several others go to that same main. So most of this is coming off of Morningside.
Going to the main on Briarwood.
Yes, but the two actually kind of split off. So Morningside's going up north, and then it makes a way back to the east. Briarwood's running directly east, and then meets up with this main, and then heads back to the plant.
In other words, we're on a separate, our house is on it, we're across the street, but we're on a separate sewer line.
Yep, absolutely.
But I can understand, about the easement thing, but I think knowing whether the sewer line was there or not, because whenever we have a rain or something, water flows down there like it's a stream, and so you would kind of assume maybe there's nothing under there, but I can see what that might have been there, what they thought, so.
I guess I'm confused on, it says a 50-50 split, or split the overage 50-50. And if it's 24,000, why did it go 18.6 on a 50-50?
So the overage between the initial estimate, which was to just repair it in place, was 12.
Okay.
So the difference there between 24 and 12 being 12,000. So they will pay for that 50% of that difference.
Okay, so they're going to pay 6, but then okay. Now I get it.
Yeah, so the contractor gave us an estimate of 24,000. That's how that number was derived.
I don't really want to vote against the whole thing, but if we could make an exception somehow, I would vote against this last third part of this, or whatever we call it, the Briarwood part of it.
Well, the only thing is, and this would be my question, if that is done, say that exception is made, then where does that leave the sewer line? Because then you have this shrunken sewer line, and so then what's the plan from there?
Well, the line have to be replaced.
Yeah.
The line will have to be
So you're
replaced.
just talking about just going on down the way, and they'd have to move all their stuff off there, or it'd all be taken off there?
Pay more.
No,
Sounds like there would be
we can
two
move it, and they
options.
pay for the whole move.
Right. Sounds like there'd be two options. Either you provide input that we go back to them and say you're going to have to pay for the whole move, or we go back to where we are right now and we dig it up. But it sounds like one of those two options would be the option we would take. And you pointed out the correct point there. It's an emergency matter. We now know about it, and that puts us at a liability since we know about it. We are moving at the very best pace that we can, but that's not going to stop someone from making a claim if we know about it and there is a big rain event and it backs up.
And I appreciate that. I'm not trying to drag this out. I'm not trying to be a pain in the neck about it and all that stuff. I just think there's a principle that,
Well, to say that he didn't know there was an easement there, I find a lawyer, Dan Ertl, not knowing every dot, every T crossed on a contract he owns for a piece of property to be kind of unusual. I would think he would know everything there is to know about it forward and backwards.
Oh, it's Dan's. I didn't know. I thought it was.
I don't know that you can make any sort of assumption like that here.
Well, I think there's options. We could go in there and tear all that stuff out and go straight to where it is, or they have an option of saying, we want to save our thing that we built, well, here's the option, and then, we do that all the time in our own houses, or if we're buying something, it's like, here's an option, or go with the next option, and it's more money, or whatever it might be, so, I kind of agree. If we're gonna reroute it,
I think we're being nice to offer to reroute it.
yeah.
A lot of places, like was said, Ameren and them would have just said, Sorry for you.
I mean, I've
This is
had
where we're going.
I've had water stuff replaced in my house. They don't even fix the ground. They just come in, tear it out,
Yep.
replace it, and move on. I mean,
Yeah, but they put the black dirt underneath and they put the clay on top.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, yeah.
We do try our very best to work with the residents whenever, especially whenever we have something in the backyard.
No, I get
We've
it
had a few
100%. No, I mean 100%. I mean, I think offering to reroute is a heck of a offer. I mean, to do that. So, but I mean, that's, yeah, I get it. So, I concur.
Is there time enough to go back and see if there's another negotiating point?
Yes.
Better than 18.6?
I make a motion to accept the sewer changes minus the third part on Briarwood for further discussion. Does that work?
Second.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yeah, no.
no, and Wilbur.
Yes.
Okay, now, getting the sewer fixed, that's now you've taken the exception out. Okay. Do you want to wait then for him to renegotiate and then bring it back? Is that what you're deciding what you want to do?
That was the direction I took.
Okay.
We passed 2 of them, and 1 we're still negotiating. See if we can.
Do we need to, since it's kind of an emergency thing, because it's something that has to be done within the next 2 weeks, do we need to pre-approve, a certain,
I think we can bring it back in 2 weeks, can't we?
okay.
Okay, all right, thank you, guys. We are at appointments. And we have several of them. Mr. Schlegel.
Yes, Your Honor. We'll take these by boards, and we'll start with the Mexico Audrain Library Board. Sue Wachner's term has expired, and she has expressed interest in reappointment. And we do have one position for a 3-year term. You also did receive an application from Benjamin Jeffrey expressing interest as well.
I move we reappoint Sue Wachter to the to the library board.
Second.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Abstain?
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Okay, planning and zoning?
Okay, Planning and Zoning, Dave Wilburn, Craig Kimball, Jim Dye, Mike Birdsley. Their terms have expired, and all expressed interest in reappointment. We have not received any other applications for this board, so there would be 4 positions for 3-year term or 3-year reappointment terms. This is a appointment by city council.
We're going to do it individually.
You can do them all because they're all the same term. You can
I'm
do them
going
all
to
in one.
appoint Dave Wilburn, Craig Kimball, Jim Dye, Mike Beardsley to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes. Let me ask one question. Brian Gruber and his wife have moved to St. Louis, or the St. Louis area.
Is their name on there?
Well, he shows his term is up in July of next year.
That is incorrect. We had appointed,
He's
remember who
resigned.
the appointed?
We appointed somebody else.
Well, I thought we did.
Yeah.
It didn't reflect that, so maybe I missed that. I thought maybe I was confused.
That
Okay.
was my error.
Thank you.
Okay, next is the Building Code of Appeals. Rick Gibney's term expired. He's expressed interest in reappointment. We have not received anyone else expressing interest. So this is one position for reappointment for a 5-year term.
Move we reappoint Rick Gibney to the Building Code Board of Appeals.
Second.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Zoning.
Okay, Zoning Board of Adjustment, Bruce Oliver's term has expired. He has expressed interest in reappointment. We've not received any other. This is one position for a 5-year term, city manager appointment. I would reappoint Bruce Oliver and ask that the council concur with my appointment.
Concur.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hay.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Porter.
Yes.
Park Board?
Mexico Park Board, Janice McIntosh, Dave Knoll, Mike Coulis's terms have expired. They all wish reappointment. Cole Hildebrandt has resigned his position, and we do have other options. So we do have to break these down. This is a city manager appointment. We do have 3 for reappointment for a 3-year term, and I would reappoint Janice McIntosh, Dave Knoll, Mike Coulis, and ask the council concur with that appointments.
Concur.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hay.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
We have one unexpired term on the park board, and I would appoint Greg Sorensen and ask council's concurrence for that appointment to the unexpired term.
Concur.
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hay.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. Is that it? That's all, right?
That's all.
Okay. Okay, I need, claims are next. Do
Make
I have a
to pay the
motion?
bills?
Second.
Williams.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hay.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Okay, we go on to council comments, and I'm going to start. First of all, we had a huge announcement here in Mexico on Friday. It was very kind of last minute, put together last minute, but it was exciting. It has to do with the new Western Smokehouse coming to Mexico, and they have a lot to tell us, and so I see that you already had it on the radio, and it's probably going to be in the newspaper, so thank you. So that's what I have to say. And Larry, do you want to go next?
I don't really have anything, except apparently the Soybean Festival was an outstanding function, and except for the rain, everything was wonderful, I guess, so congratulate the JCs.
Okay. Chris?
Well, the only thing I'd say about JC's is, the Soybean Festival that was a big parade. It lasted forever and ever and ever and ever. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying there was a lot of participants, which
A lot
was
of
great.
excitement.
Starting pouring down rain, too.
Yeah, I know.
A little bit of good stuff.
Might be better than the 101 heat index we're having today. Chris Williams.
Soybean Festival was a good success from everything I've heard, so congratulations to them for putting that on. And I'd like to remind everybody that fall sports officially starts Friday as far as a game, so we wish our fellow council member Coach Haig luck this Friday night.
Appreciate it. My turn?
Your turn.
My turn. Okay, good. Good start to school. So it's good to see all the kids back. I don't know if my body's used to it, but we'll get into it. The Soybean Festival, and congratulations to the city, the town, Amy Economics for bringing the smokehouse. I think. As I talk to people, and it's funny, as I talk to people, you need to bring more business in, like we don't want to bring more business in, and how hard it is to get businesses for just a lot of reasons that you don't look into. So I think this is huge for Mexico, and so now those people can kind of just simmer down a little bit, because that's going to be great for the town and the surrounding area as well, because I'm sure it'll employ more people even outside of it. To our fire department, who fought a fire by my house, my wife approved. She kept me updated all the time. She's being an administrator, she makes sure that all the I's are dotted and T's crossed, but she said the guys did a great job while they were there, so I appreciate that, and that's all I have. So other sports are going on too Friday, so I think softball's playing Friday as well, and so not just us, so it'll be a great kickoff. Should be a nice day. Hopefully it cools down a little bit than what we've got out there right now.
It should be a beautiful week next weekend. One more thing, though, if you guys want to try the product that the Western Smokehouse puts out, you can buy the meat sticks at Aldi anybody's under the Chomp, since they already said that the brand was, they sell it to Chomps. Chomp sells it there. It's very good, actually. So you think you're at Outlaws, you want to buy one, that'd be fine. Mr. Slagle?
I have nothing at this time, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, we're now up to public comment. If anybody wants to stand up and make some comments, you are welcome to go forward, say your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes, and I don't see anybody, so I will take a
Move we
motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.